Another tough Saturday afternoon. Like I said after the game, I feel for our kids. It's a team loss. We did it all together as coaches and as players. The one thing I'll say about our kids' effort out there was, when you put the tape on, they're playing their tails off. Nobody should look and say they didn't play hard or they didn't give in. We were down the entire game until we kicked that field goal and go up at the end of the game. And our kids kept fighting, and that's what I love about this football team is they're fighters. They're going to give you everything they got. We've got to be a lot better in a lot of different situations, as we know. We expect perfection, and we're never going to get it. But we've got to be better than what we were. It's a shame when you play as physical as we did, play as hard as we did, not to come out with a victory. And that's the disappointing thing. That's where I feel bad for our guys because as coaches, we got to do a better job at, getting them in position to make more plays and do a better job coaching them to be where they need to be and take care of maybe some of the things that are, weaknesses and make sure they're strengths. Obviously Clemson did a nice job, offensively with what they did and, some of the different things. But, I make a special note that Nate Yarnell played his tail off, threw for 350. Those most passing yards thrown on Clemson this year, maybe in 2 years, who knows. A very athletic, probably, the best defense we faced this year. We thought maybe SMU was going into the game. We didn't know, but, after you watch the tape, that was by far the best front that we played. TJ Parker is a beast, number 3. He will be a first-round defensive end someday. So that's what Jackson Brown had to go against most of the day. I think they matched him up with the young guy, which, good move by them. Probably should have helped him a little earlier, but we ended up helping him late, but not enough. He took over the game. Some just quick stats-wise that I think are important, and this is why stats really don't matter because you can look at the stats all you want. It comes down to winning and losing. We had 87 plays. They had 70, okay? One of the first times we've had more plays, and our offense was on the field more than our defense. Time possession, 34 minutes to 26. We got 27 first downs. They got 21. Rushing yards, we got 88. They got 58. And they had 8 going into that last, quarterback draw. And we had 350 passing. They had 288, okay? Total yards, we had 438. They had 346, the fewest since they played Georgia. So that tells you what kind of effort our guys, played with out there. And obviously, I'll give you one less, 13 penalties to 6 penalties. And, I can't explain the 6. Sometimes I can't explain 13, okay? You guys got the videotape. You guys can watch it, and, we know there's all kinds of stuff there. Again, we talked to our guys just about, it's a 60-minute game. You can play great for 58 and a half minutes. It doesn't matter, okay? You better play great for 60 minutes, and that's why it's, there's a clock on the scoreboard to track that. It's a game of inches, and we didn't get the inches when we needed them, and that's what it comes down to, and that's why they got the victory and we didn't. Defensively, we had two 3-play, 75-yard drives. First one was 2 big passes, and then the last one, which was in a 2-minute situation. And like I said, I got a lot of confidence in what we do on third down and what we do in 2-minute drills. And we've seen our guys, get off the field many times throughout our career. That was a poor performance, okay, by coaches and players as far as not getting off the field. There's a lot of faith in our players and in what we do to get off the field. We didn't get it done, and that's on us as a team. And then offensively, I thought we started slow. I think things were moving fast for the offense, and some of the moving parts we had up front. And like I said, Nate did a nice job of playing his game, and I thought he really came on in the second half after he hadn't played for a while. I mean, playing. A fast defense, one of the best defense you faced all year in your first really game experience. I think it took a while for him to get going, but I thought in that second half he was outstanding, took hits. It is hard to stay in that pocket and trust, that you're going to be okay and throw those balls. I mean, he took some hits and did it like a pro. So I love Nate for that, and that's kind of who Nate is. He's a tough son of a gun. And then down to the goal line, we did just a poor job communicating. He got loud down there for some reason. I don't know what it was. Got loud. We had some communication issues through the thing. And I told Nate, like after yesterday, like, why don't you do this? So he's like, we already got those things covered. I said, well, we can see this, that you're having troubles hearing it. But and then they're looking at the sideline, but we're we're in a little huddle, so that was chaos. So we'll fix that this week. We haven't had it before, and again, that's on us as coaches. That starts with us, period. And then we just had some, issues. The ball being smack in the middle of the field, everybody knowing, and again, you guys don't need to hear all those issues, but the ball happened to be smack in the middle with just getting lined up, and we just did a poor job, and that's on coaches as well. So, questions? Well, let's go on to Louisville. Obviously Jeff Brom coming off a loss out in Stanford. Great head football coach, known him for a long time. He's an offensive guru with his brother Brian as well. As his offensive coordinator. But obviously Jeff he's the OC and calling the plays. I think he does an outstanding job. We got Tyler Shuck as our quarterback, who Tyler is a gunslinger. Came from Texas Tech transfer. He can throw it. He's very, very talented. And somebody that we're going to have to play really well against. Again, ACC, the conference of quarterbacks, right? I mean, when you look at the young man we played last week, they got talent in the backfield. They got talent all over the field. They got a lot of transfers on the football team. Tailback Isaac Brown's had a tremendous freshman year. Has a great chance of being the rookie of the year in the conference. Ja'Cory Brooks, wide receiver, number 1 and number 0. Keep an eye on those two guys. Chris Bell's the other guy. I mean, too big. 200, 6'2", 6'3", 220-pound targets. Ja'Cory's a 1,000-yard receiver already, so they got talent back there, and Jeff Brom does as good. They're going to take their shots and go deep on us. So, and they like to run the ball. I mean, the tailback is really good. And then defensively, Mark Hagan's one of their co-defensive coordinators with Ron English. I've known Mark Hagan for a long, long time. He was at Northern Illinois when I got there back in the day. He's a D-line guy as well. But they do a great job. They're 4 down and get after it. Ashton Gillette is the guy that caused havoc off the edge. I think he leads the country with maybe 53 pressures on the quarterback. So we'll have to know where he is at all time and try to help all of our linemen out when he's a pass rusher. So talented, and we got to go on the road and get a win, and that's our intentions. Questions?
Are you dialing back the speed a little bit between snaps just so you guys get your feet underneath you?
No, not intentionally.
Plan on doing that?
It's a great question because I'm going to find out what our snaps are. But are we going to do that? You said, not really. I want our offense to do what they do. I think once you start doing that, or say, hey, let's huddle up and take time, then we get into delay games and all that. And we haven't seen those delay games all year. Those penalties got to go. The 9 unforced. I think 9 of the 13 penalties were unforced. It means they did nothing to make us do that, besides maybe shift around a little bit at the center spot, right? But that's on us. I don't care what they say on. They can't yell at our cadence, but if they're yelling at our cadence, we got to be more disciplined. So there's a lot of things that obviously you can't see, why did it happen? But there's some stuff that shouldn't be going on in a football game, and we got to control it and do a better job.
When you line up, you guys have the O-line go, get set first, but the skill guys stay there, look over to the sideline. Have you talked to Cade why he likes to do that? And do you think
we don't always do that? It's what we call bounce huddle. Okay, so we do that every once in a while. It all depends, but it's just we've done that all year. But everybody will see that maybe on the goal line and 1st and 2 at the 2, when I think that's a touchdown anyway, guys. So whatever, maybe we shouldn't even been down there. Maybe we should just brought Ben out for the extra point. But that's why I coach.
Eli's health is a consideration, but is Nate earned the way he played on Saturday? Does that earn him some consideration for the starting job?
Yeah, well, we'll find out when Eli's cleared. He hasn't been cleared yet, so there's no question. I mean, as we talked all August, we got 2 really good quarterbacks, and both of them have opportunity. I mean, Nate did a heck of a job out there, like I thought and knew he would. He prepares like a pro, and again, maybe he didn't quite prepare like a pro, for that second half of Virginia. I didn't think he was going to be put in that position, and that's, every guy on our football team's got to be prepared for that position, whether it's at center, at quarterback, or at corner. For if you're the next man, and you better be ready to go. And if you don't, you let the team down. But Nate, certainly with a week of practice and getting all the reps, he's like a, just talking to him, after the games, I coach, I knew every blitz that was coming, okay, except for 2. He knew, he wasn't like he didn't prepare for it, but he knew it was coming. He knew where it was coming. He, was able to get protection where he needed to, but you still got to block one-on-one, right? You still got to, if they're bringing 6, you got to be good for it. So just his intelligence goes a long way.
On the matter of the offensive procedure penalties, I think you have 17 all season. 9 are in the last 2 games. How much of that do you put on some of the changes in personnel that you have, the offensive line and quarterback in particular?
You said it, not me. But, anytime there's changes in there, and then you got a new center goes in during the game, and then, they don't get to work together. That's why you'd like to keep your continuity in your offensive line. There's no question. And then you got a different quarterback in there, too, calling cadences and, different rhythm or whatever. And then we got, the last play of the game on offense. I don't know if you guys watched it. Go back and watch it. Just to take your chance to go watch it. The left tackle, is offside. Bear jumps off sides, but it's really not Bear jumping off sides. It's because we don't snap the football. Okay, officials don't even see it. Okay, so there's not even a call on it, and we got guys wide open down the field. And like we should have won on the last play of the game. That's what you can go back to 2 minutes. We can go back to the goal line, but we had an opportunity to win. On the last play of the game, we got the ball to plus 26-yard line. Like, you couldn't ask for a better situation. Our offense went all the way down the field and put ourselves in that position. So, but, Chris, to your point, anytime you make a change, whether it's a center, whether it's a tackles and moving guys around, we've had that for a few weeks. And, it's not easy, but we got to get it done. That's our job as coaches, to get it done. So that's not an excuse.
So there were guys open on last play. Nate didn't see them.
He didn't really have time to see him because we were kind of off sides, and then, you got Gavin on the right side over there, sees it. He looks over to the left because he knows it's a legal procedure, but there's no whistle, there's no flag. And then he turns around, it's too late because, dude's around the corner already. And, if Kenny just turns around, but Kenny thought he had to get to the end zone first, but there's 4 guys deep, and we got guys open. 2 guys wide, we have a chance. Just go back and watch that last play. From the all 22, it's whoa. Fortunate.
I've heard it said about good coordinators that when you watch them, it's almost sort of impressive. They seem to have the adjustment already built in for your adjustment. They're going to do one thing, but they're already anticipating what you're going to do to adjust, and they've got that adjust. Is Jeff Brom one of those guys that you watch and you're like, wow, he already...
Every coordinator's like that. They're going to have enough stuff in that if you do this, we got that. That's what we all do, offensively or defensively. That's... I don't know if that becomes a great coordinator. It's calling it at the right times, right? You got to guess right, and sometimes you guess right, sometimes you guess wrong. That's the name of the business. You base your calls based on stats and what you think and everything else going into the game and all the studies that you've done through the week. But he does a good job. He's going to try to dictate what coverage you're in. He's going to try to he just does a good job. He's an offensive genius, like everybody we get to face in this league. This is big boy football. They're all really good, So it's can you be better on that day? And there's times yesterday or Saturday that you felt like you're better, and then again it's the same thing this week. You have to go out and execute, and we got to try to put them in the best possible position that we can in every snap and every minute of that game.
How important is it, or how much of a consideration is it to get guys in the offensive line who've shuffled in and rotated out a couple games or a couple weeks of practice together to build some chemistry or continuity?
Yeah, it's important, but you can't. It's I'm trying to cut practice back this time of year, and it's like you want to add practice. We can't add practice. It's week 13. Is that what it is? Week 13 of the season, and you're banged up to begin with. Talked about Daniel Carter, who had surgery yesterday. C.J. Lee's in surgery today. Jordan Bass is out for the year as well. He'll have surgery today as well. In the last 2 weeks we've gotten banged up, so you want to increase your time to get the continuity out there on the field, but we can't do that. And that's going to be, the next year's biggest question too, is when they knock our roster from 117 to 105 of how, if you have one of these years, where you're getting banged up, that it's an issue. But numbers wise, there's a certain point we get during the season where you're struggling to have enough guys on scout team to even run a practice, okay? And you want to cut the time back, and we've usually cut it back already, but we have not cut practice back yet because we needed to work the last 2 weeks. So I'm like, geez, I'm cutting it back. We need work. We need more practice time, but you can't do it. So it'd be nice to get more, but it's got to be quality, not quantity.
Do you expect continuity personnel-wise on the O-line this week from last week?
I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see what happens this week in practice.
But you have some.
I got some idea, but you don't know till you get to Friday who's going to line up and then who's going to stay. No one expected to lose, Jacoby like you did in the game again when he was, we took him the week off. we gave him a week off just to get his body healthy because he wasn't playing good. And he was playing good, and then he'll say he's out. It's like, here we go again. So you can go into it on Friday. I can feel good now, but it's how am I going to feel after the game on Saturday? It's how because you don't know. I mean, you get wiped out real quick.
If you needed to go to backup quarterback on Saturday against Clemson, who would have been the guy behind Nate?
But you really don't want to get to that. But we had, really both guys. I mean, we feel good with Ty and David Lynch, who's walk-on, operates the offense really well. I mean, Ty's athletic. I mean, they both have great tools. But we had options depending on how the game was going and what we needed.
Wildcat?
We thought about it. We thought about putting a Wildcat guy back there. But we were hoping not to get to that point. And like I said, Nate is one of the toughest dudes I've been around because he took some shots and he kept going. And I give him, he's got my respect. I guarantee you that.
Are there any big differences between Louisville, what you saw last year, or this year? Is it more of the same?
Too early, but I mean, what they do offensive and defensive, and haven't had any coaching changes. It's about what they do. But different players playing different positions, and new quarterback that's different than last year, and Plummer and all that. So there's obviously similarities all over the place, but personnels are different. What they're doing, and that's about it.
I don't have stats on this, but I'm curious about your Delta defense. Obviously, it's been a mainstay of your defense for the last 10 years. Has it been, from what you've seen, as effective this year as it's been in previous years?
Yeah, it has been. It has been. It's like we just got, it's like 2 minute. Like, I mean, just look at Kyle Lewis's interceptions that he's had this year in that package and the plays we've made. I mean, if you go back to 2 minute, whether it's West Virginia, Cincinnati, like the production we've had out there, everybody has one of their days, right? And it's good until it's not good. But I don't think it's the package. I think it's the calls, when you make the calls and what those calls were, and it's also the execution. So it comes down to player and coach and doing it together. But I think a lot of people make mistakes. I mean, we've been running the same. I've been running the same defense at Division I level since 2003, and there's tweaks and different stuff. Like they rush for 8 yards going into the last series of the drive. And you don't really expect anybody with no timeouts to run the ball and then get tackled, okay? So you're not sitting there really worried about a run game at that point. We were worried about a run game on the first play in 2 minutes at the half because that's what they usually do. And you got, it's not 2 minutes at the end of the game, but 2 minutes at the end of the game, no timeouts, and you run the ball. If your receivers just ran 30 yards down the field, 40 yards down the field, and the quarterback gains 5 yards and gets tackled, and they have no way to stop the clock, and they got to clock it, and all those receivers got to come back to clock it. They lose, but like they won, they made a good decision. It paid off for them. But if he gets tackled, they got issues with clock management.
Anything final?
Anything else on Louisville? We talked enough about the other one.
Is there a back that Isaac Brown that you would compare him to that reminds you of?
I mean, he's a baby from Homestead. I mean, I don't know. He's explosive. He's fast. He's quick. I'd say he's like, Desmond Reed. I mean, I think the kid can take it to the house at any point. He's a different back. I think he's going to be a dude. In a few years he'll be drafted and play high. I don't know how big he is here. I mean, I don't even look and see how big he is. 5'9", 190, but he's explosive. And again, I knew before I even watched tape yesterday on him. I've seen it through the year of just watching their offense. Against you see him on tape, and it's like, whoo, this dude's explosive.
You guys spent time in that area. Do you remember recruiting him at all or looking at him?
I don't. I have to go look at our recruiting thing, but I don't remember. No. Should have.
Did Desmond have to persevere a little bit? A little banged up?
He's been banged up all year, really. I mean, he's just a tough son of a gun. I mean, him diving for that touchdown. I mean, well, the one that wasn't a touchdown. I mean, him diving for that thing. I mean, he's just a football player, but he's persevered. I mean, he's tough as well. I mean, like I said, our kids play their hearts out, and you don't ever want to see it out, come out like that. But he just keeps going. But that's a weekly thing for him.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All righty.